Hi, everybody. I am Lady Stars and Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for April 22nd through the 30th. First off, for everybody who's getting this on the 22nd, happy Earth Day. And I hope that you are doing something wonderful for Earth Day. As well as, before we get into anything else with the weekly healing messages, on the 22nd of every month, I always do a global healing, which is more or less, I'm not even doing it. This is something the Spirit has had me putting out for the last couple years. It's Nobody Suffers Alone anymore, and it has to deal with, helping raise the vibration of the planet by sending healing energy. Please look at my website, ladystarsandfire.com, so that you can get that information, because this can be done at your own home in your own time within, even a 5-minute meditation, 15, 20-minute meditation, but there are times set according to angel numbers. So please go back and check that, because it will help with the energies of Earth Day itself. Now, with that being said, wow, just wow. We finally have Mercury no longer in shadow. Woo-hoo. Then we have Jupiter, which is finally gone retrograde. Pluto is going retrograde this week. Saturn goes retrograde next week. Let me just say what Spirit is telling me. The year starts now. Everything else was setting us in the right direction to actually start to catapult ourselves in that direction. Now we are actually starting the year. But with that being said, I don't know how else. And there are people who are saying don't say it, and I don't even care. I really don't. And I mean no disrespect. But with the energies that are coming in, what we've been going through for the last, month, with Mercury being over there in Pisces and all of that energy, and digging through our dormant, digging through our shadows, digging through, all of that universal 12th house, and starting to sift through that energy for healing. I don't know how else to put it other than to go right into, the media. Notre Dame, plain and simple. Complaining that it is a computer glitch that started the fire. Mercury deals with computers. I don't know how else to put it than this is flat out the universe's way of trying to give you a divine intervention. It is completely about redefining soul, redefining what is holy. What have you thought your whole life was holy? What was soulful? What was spiritual? Because it's time to realize we knew nothing. It is time to really redefine that and get that divine intervention and start to step forward. It does not surprise me that Notre Dame burned with like I said, a computer glitch. Mercury was in shadow of retrograde of all of that energy, and you've got Pluto and Saturn about to go retrograde, coupling up in Capricorn, where new foundations are built. Yeah, divine intervention. I don't care what nobody says. Divine intervention and redefining what is holy. Redefining what you were taught was holy. Because you're about to find out, like I've been saying for the last year, you are about to find out what authentic self really is. Because what you thought you knew nothing. And I'm being told this by Spirit all the time, even for myself. So I'm not being cocky and telling it to you. I'm being told the cockiness that they're giving me. We know nothing about what is holy, what is spiritual, what is soulful. We are still adolescents, and we're only learning how to step up into being healthier, higher vibrational beings. And this is, like I said, I don't know how else to have a divine intervention slapped into our face. Let me also remind you that this has everything to do with relationships. I've been saying for the last, year, that this year and from here on out, when we hit, 2019 and go into 2020 and so forth, that it's going to be redefining not just what's holy, what's soulful, what's spiritual, but we're redefining relationships. First off, you're redefining the relationship you have with yourself. Then you're redefining the relationships you have with others, as well as What kind of relationships will you have? Are you still willing to accept? And that has everything to do with this energy that's going on. See, because I don't know how else to put it, because it's the way Spirit's putting it to me. Spirit, with all of this energy that's been coming in, and the shifts and the changes, Notre Dame, all of this, Spirit, honey, is taking your ass to church. That's what this is about. And I don't mean church like the cathedral. For some people, it's just your soulfulness. For some people, you get your church when you meditate. For some people, you get your church in the forest with nature. It's what is getting you to your soulfulness. It is what is getting you to understanding the holiness that is the divine that is within you and connecting with it. Spirit is taking you to church, basically. And that's what this year is coming to being about. I was saying as the year started and as last year ended, I kept saying we're coming into 2019. 2019 is a 3-year. Number 3 in vibrational frequencies. But it's also a number 12 year. What is 12? People always hear you talk about 12-12. Step out of your comfort zone. Comfort zones are no longer accepted. We are trying to get rid of fear, doubt, and worry. And the way to do that is step in to those that are uncomfortable. Because this is how you get rid of that. This is how you overcome that. But also if you take 12 year, it's breaking us down to understanding that we have to move forward. Like I said, comfort zones is not acceptable. How else are you going to get to the number 3 of the 3 year? With that being said, Spirit is saying, get your freaking shine on. And when I'm getting the get your shine on, this is about your vibrational frequency. This is about rising our vibrational frequency, overcoming what we have known our vibrational frequency to be. Because the universe, not the universe, but the earth itself, its vibrational shift is rising. And as we rise, so does it. But then we must rise again. This is taking us right back to getting out of our comfort zones, getting past our worries, our doubts, and being overcome or overwhelmed with them and keeping us from being there. Because Spirit gives me 9/11. 9/11 for me is 9, which happens to be for me, Lightworkers, get your ass to work. 11, manifesting that. Get your ass to work. Light workers, get your butt in moving. Get your jobs, figure them out, and start doing them. That's what 9/11 is for me. Light workers, get to work now. So this is speaking to me of, coming into, starting to realize our higher priestess. According to the tarot cards, the higher priestess is comfortable with all things. She's completely comfortable with who she is, her shadow and her light. She's come to wisdom within this. This is telling us what we are aiming towards. It is, your inner higher priestess. We need to start looking for her, finding her, raising her vibrations and lifting her up and out of us. That is authentic self. It is also speaking to us of our warrior goddess, or for you men, your inner God or your inner warrior God, so to speak, is helping us move into this, our inner higher priest, if it's for the men, because this is not just for females. But I'm also being told, I'm sorry, I've got my notes everywhere. I'm also being told this has to do with our ascendant. When we look at astrology, you have on a universal level, well, when you look at your chart anyway, you have your ascendant, you have your descendant. Spirit is telling me on a universal level, we are working with the ascendant sign. We are working with that Eastern Hemisphere. We are working with, our self, our personal identity. That's coming to find who we truly are, stepping into our power and learning how. I was saying this a while ago. There's a difference between starting to know who you are and actually being who you are. Starting to rise into the truth of what you were made to be. This is also teaching us to get over, to kill ego and the introvert itself. This is helping us rise and heal up and above and out of that so that we can move forward. Universally is what I'm being given. I'm also being given horns. I feel like I'm being told it has to do with Aries energy, the beginnings, like the beginning of a cycle, the rebirthing of it, and the starting, which that makes complete sense with what's going on. Like I said, Spirit just said, the new year is starting now. But I'm also connecting it with Taurus energy, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and the Capricorn, which is your foundations, and wanting something back in return for what it is you've built that foundation for. Like I said last week or the week before, we are setting impressions that last lifetimes. We are building foundations that last lifetimes. That's what all of that hard energy was about. I'm also being given the crab, which relates me to Cancer. And then it relates me to Jera, Hera, and Juno, because I see them as one and the same. As they are the rune for this week. But that also has to do with astrology, because Juno just moved into Cancer, and I keep being given crabs. Now, no, I haven't been being given crabs, but I'm being given the crab as a spirit guide. That sounded bad phrasing. Anyway, I'm being given it, and for me, the crab stands for putting on your armor. Putting on your armor to protect yourself, because the crab doesn't come at things direct. It doesn't come at things straightforward. The crab comes at things from the sides. It doesn't walk straight. It wiggles side to side. So this is speaking of energies coming at you from the side, and not to be blindsided, because you need to be protected as you are moving forward. This also has to do with what Spirit is telling me on Otherland Dreams. This week we're going to be doing our show on grounding ourselves and why that's so important. Because it's not just about grounding ourselves anymore. It has to do with protecting ourselves in new ways. Because, like I said, the vibrational frequency of Earth has shifted, and it is rising. And with it rising, the new, as I call the new spiritual, new bloomers, the newborns, spiritual newborns is what I often call them. The ones who are just waking up are having to really come into learning how to ground themselves, protect themselves in this energy, as well as keep themselves from accidentally going into merges that they don't know about, which can become harmful. So please check out Otherland Dreams on FXPG Public Radio Tuesday night at 10:30, or if you don't want to catch it when it's live, you can always just go into any place where podcasts are, any place that podcasts are provided, and you can subscribe there. But with that being said, I'm being given the crab, which is giving me that energy of protecting yourself, shielding yourself, putting your armor on, but understanding things are not coming straight head on. They're coming from other angles. And this has to do with how we are going to get through the Cancer energy in general as well. Because Cancer energy is the root of who and what created you to be what you are. Because you're cleaning some of that up. This is dealing with past lives as well. Not just anything that's not anymore is part of your past life, as well as past lives. Okay? So we're cleaning up the roots that made us not as healthy as we could be. And that's what Cancer energy is. It's the home. The home, baby. You can't get away from you. It's the root of who and what you are. We're cleaning that up. And Cancer is the moon. So it deals with our emotional depths. It deals with our spiritual, soulful depths, as well as our physical depths, because the moon speaks to our sensitivity, which also speaks to, that Venus energy of, our sensitivity in general. But when I relate it to Jera has just moved in, bringing it closer to the North Node in Cancer, in astrology, and that is bringing us to understanding what Jera is. Juno moved into astrology. Juno in astrology moved into Cancer, but Jera is the rune, and I also see it as Hera. So I see the three of them combined. Jera is the year, the harvest, the season. This is speaking about us going through a seasonal change within the lifetimes of the lifetime we are living. It is timing natural cycles and waiting for the results. It is the ruin of ruin of harvest and harvesting of one's efforts. It points to our attunements to earth and the season itself. It's cycles of change. It is the natural process from beginning to end. It speaks to us of patience, timing, rewards for efforts, debts being paid back, cycle of life, returning energy, outward cycle of natural flow from beginning to end, putting energy into the external and relationships with our environment. What did I just say? Everything is dealing with relationships that are changing and what will be acceptable, starting with ourselves. I'm also being told by Spirit, I was just told it as I started the video, I also need to go over Sawilo. Sawilo looks like this. Okay? I'm pulling it from my book. Often my book talks to me more than the actual runes do, or I'm given it in my third eye. So Wheelo is the sun. It is the wheel. It is the sun wheel. Sorry, it is air. It is a time of power being available to you to make the changes. Points to revelation of the clear direction. It is the end of blockages. It focuses on matters of social and verbal success. Journey over water, or of finding one's way. It is the navigation ruin. It's the presence of teachers and counselors that may be around you. It is guidance, setting goals, pursuing a path, spiritual navigation. It is the beacon. It is the light. It is the sun. It is loss of the illusion. We're no longer in the ice. We're starting to move forward. It's melting. It is the sense of self-worth, the positive course of action. End of stasis and stagnation, forward movement. Again, hope, success, achievement, honor, recognition, education also always points to good fortune. It is the time of power being given to you to start to move forward. Now, with that being said, let me jump into the astrology, because really I have a big cluster. Astrology is kind of like this week. Like everything just kind of came together into one big cluster. That's the best way of how I see it. Because like I said, when I do astrology, I don't do the aspects quite the same as everybody else. I do it the same as everybody else. But Spirit also starts shifting those aspects around so that I see things that normal people, I guess, would not be seeing. It's just their way of communicating with me. But as I get into it, let me just explain it. Let me remind you, the 22nd is Earth Day. Please have a happy and healthy Earth Day. The 24th, Pluto is Pluto is going retrograde. So it's no longer going to be in shadow. On the 29th, Saturn is going retrograde. And like I said, Juno has moved into Cancer, bringing it closer to the North Node. Now, where all of this energy, remember, we just had this major full moon in Scorpio/Libra. So this energy was a release. It was a release of all your baggage from the last 30 years, from the last 12 years, from the last 8 years, specific time periods that it hits, of things that have been coming up and helping us to clear that shit right on out so we could start to heal and move forward. So it was a major release and a double time because it came in twice as a full moon. This energy, like I said, is all about getting us to the new moon next month. Just say hi. Say hi, Neptune. He always pops up. Doodle never pops up. I think it's funny. But this energy is about getting us to the new moon, which will be in Taurus, dealing with your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem on May 4th. So we're setting ourselves for the catapult. We're setting ourselves for that forward movement. You may not feel it right now, but your actions right now are what's directing it. And it's important for us to understand that. Now, let me just first get into astrology by explaining where the moon is moving. The moon is moving up until the 23rd, which is Tuesday, midday. It is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, hello, I love Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius is what I like to call the Tomb Raider, what I like to call, like Laura Craft. I like to call it Indiana Jones. It wants to know and understand and acknowledge everything, but it's adventurous. I'm always on the go. I want to know, I want to know, I want to learn, and I'm interested, and now, more or less is what I get from that energy. And in the moon, we want to take that time to, when our moon is in Sagittarius, we want to take that time to understand, to learn, to acknowledge, to grow. We want to, maybe take those classes at that time or get away for a little bit, because it's also about travel. So up until mid-Tuesday, we're feeling that Sagittarius energy. Then Wednesday and Thursday, we're going through Capricorn. The moon in Capricorn is a little bit more methodical. Not a little bit, it's a lot more. It's a lot more methodical. It's because it wants an investment on what it put in its energy into. It wants an investment on its investment. It wants to create something that's going to last lifetimes. Like I've been saying, it's foundation. Are we setting our foundations properly? Do we like the foundations? Do they need to shift it? I'm telling you, with Pluto and Saturn in shadow, both going retrograde this week, yeah, they need to shift, and we're going to start acknowledging that. We're going to start feeling it and starting to make those changes happen. You may not this week, but you're going to start moving in that direction. Now, on the 26th and the 27th, the moon is in Aquarius. This is where we become more rebellious. We're more willing to stand up and just go for it than normal. It's the fireworks, as I call it. You don't know when the fireworks are lit what you're going to see. You just know they're coming. And that's kind of the energy of the moon in Aquarius. And then we end the week with the moon, or start next week with the moon in Pisces on Sunday and Monday. Now, the moon in Pisces means, I warn everybody when we have the moon in Pisces, because we tend to want to believe a little bit better than things really are. We're a little hopeful when we already know maybe we really shouldn't be, or we shouldn't trust people necessarily. We're over compassionate, and there's nothing wrong with being compassionate except for when you're giving it away and you know you're not going to receive it back. Then that has to do with boundaries and not setting them properly. Now, like I said, that was the first thing. We have a lot of sextiles going on this week. Sextiles are opportunities. This is positive changes. Mars is sextiling Aries. Mars in Gemini is that universal third house. It's the things that are close to you. It's, like I said, this is a universal astrology. So this is telling us what everybody is going to be kind of feeling. But if I'm doing your astrology by yourself, then it's definitely a whole different subject, because I set directly for who and what you are to your chart. But Mars is sextiling Aries, which means our warrior, our warrior, our inner SWAT team in Gemini, for one, is in Jekyll and Hyde. It can see both sides of every side, but you don't really know which you're getting, Jekyll or Hyde, from the warrior. And it's passion, action, aggression, fire. And that universal third house is talking about that's close to you. Siblings, short drives to the store, your short conversations, things that are close to you. And then it's speaking to Aries, and it's speaking directly with Mercury, but it is going to be picking up the sensitivity of Vesta and Venus. So it's our communication with ourselves and how we're seen, how we're showing ourselves, how we're illuminating ourselves. Are we illuminating ourselves as a warrior with an ego? Because this is a very rebellious week. A very rebellious week. Get your inner warrior on. Get your inner priestess on. Or priest. Your inner high priestess. Like I said, due to the card in tarot. Your high priestess. It is a rebellious week of being able to stand firmly in your power and move forward. But are you doing it right? Are you doing it in a healthy way with the high priestess energy? Or are you doing it in ego? And that is what you need to see this week. But with this energy of Mars, Jekyll and Hyde, speaking to Aries, Vesta, Mercury, and Venus, I'm being told by Spirit, this has to do with growth in the physical world in one way or another. for you, like I said, physically in the physical world one way or another. But with it being in the first 3 houses, I would think that it's going to do with your core energy in general, of some form. Self-worth, self-value, core, illuminating yourself within what's close to you, making sure that your shine is coming out well. Now, you also have Uranus and Taurus, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, for independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom, is speaking to Lilith in Aquarius. Right there is your rebellious energy. Lilith is an awesome energy for feminine energy, for standing up for yourself. Nobody is going to make me do a goddamn thing I don't want to do, and that is Lilith. And that is great to back you up when you need the power and you need to believe in yourself to do it. But you just want to validate that you don't take it so far that it becomes egotistical and then it starts to backbuild against you. Okay? Because like I said, there's a very positive energy there. Plus, it's speaking with Jupiter. So it is just amplified. That warrior, that inner warrior, that high priestess, that rebellious energy is self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, with independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom is going to be like on high alert of going, oh, I got my boundaries right, honey. Let me just tell you. And you're going to be feeling that this week. Definitely. Now, we do have a T-square that's come in this week, and it's going to be staying all week. And I'm not 100% how long it lasts. It's going into next week, but I don't know how far. It is a T-square with Neptune, Jupiter, and Mars. T-squares are not positive. T-squares are challenging. It does not mean, it's not harmony. It can be positive, but you have to work to make it positive. And this is what I'm saying. This has to do with stepping past our introvert, stepping past our ego, getting into the ascendant side of who and what we are and moving forward. You're being taken to church, being understanding who that authentic self is and rising above it and starting to actually grab a hold of your higher self and let me meet her or him. Let me actually start to be more of one with that. This is Neptune, Jupiter, and Mars, your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team. Your passion, your action, your aggression, and your sexual energy is not exactly getting along with the abundance of Jupiter and the higher knowledge. Okay? This is, remember, the Mars is in Gemini right now. It's Jekyll and Hyde. It's kind of seeing both sides. It can't make up its mind. Jupiter is the higher self in retrograde, telling you what you're getting wrong about it. And Ceres is right there with it. So it's speaking to you of those karmic debts. It's speaking to you of that threefold theory, making you actually see this energy with the abundance, the knowledge, higher knowledge, and magnification that only Jupiter can bring in that higher self energy. And then it's speaking to Neptune. So are you living in the past? You can't recreate the past. The past is freaking done. You can only learn from the past. And that's the key, because we're too comfortable in our comfort zones. Take you right back to where I started off with 9/11, bringing us to being given 9/11, which also brings us to a number 2, which universally is, if Spirit is giving me 9/11 and is telling us that it's time for us to get our act together and get our light workers' jobs going and start stepping up to the plate. You take 9/11 and you multiply that 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals 2. Do you want to return to last year? Because that's what Spirit's saying. Didn't you get enough shit last year? It's time to move up. Get out of the comfort zone, because that's how you're going to move up. That's what this energy really is about. Okay? Now, like I said, it's telling us to move into the new direction. Now, for the moon, we're going to have a very special energy, which might be sensitive, because it's not exactly a positive energy. On the 25th, which is Thursday, the moon is going to be sitting on top of Pluto, the south node, and Saturn, which are in shadow and retrograde. Okay? Pluto is death, decay, and destruction, for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. And Saturn is rules, walls, and boundaries. The moon sitting on top of it, asking us what we need to soulfully change, what we need to spiritually change, what we need to reconnect with and disconnect with in our outer communities. and our goals, our friends, our outer relationships, our outer views, as well as our jobs. This is telling us, what is not working well for us, because let me just tell you, it is also sextiling Neptune, and it is in opposition of the North Node. The North Node is trying to tell you something that you got to change. Get out of that comfort zone and move forward, because you're not going to move forward until you do. But if it's sextiling Neptune, it's giving you an opportunity to create new rules, laws, and boundaries, to stand up for yourself and make that shift so that you can start to outwardly make these changes in your life. You may not be able to make all changes at once. No. Most of us can't. You got to take one step at a time. But you got to know when to find the direction to start stepping in that direction and not miss it, because it will pass you by, babe. I'm being honest. Now, we have also on the 27th, which is Saturday. I'm just taking us straight through the energy. On Saturday, we're going to double up on that T-square. So you have the first T-square with Neptune, Jupiter, and Mars. It ain't going anywhere. But now you're getting another T-square on top of that one, which is going to make this energy even more sensitive, because it's Mercury. It is Pluto, Saturn, Capricorn, and it is that North Node. Don't forget, Pluto, Saturn, and Capricorn also sits with the South Node. The South Node is what you've already done in a past life, and what you have to overcome because you've gotten comfortable with it, and it's no longer working for you. And the North Node is telling you what you need to learn in order to move forward. So it's releasing of one and gaining of another. We're talking about gaining our roots back, go back and claim where you lost parts of yourself. Bring it back and make it roots again, because you're healing it. And Cancer, I said Juno was coming in, Hera was coming in. This speaks to us also of the sacrifice and commitment it takes to make it last. Okay? And it's not getting along with Mercury. It's not getting along with Mercury, which is now in Aries. It's not getting along with Venus, which is in Aries. It's not getting along necessarily with Vesta. This is the home and the hearth of the soul fire of what you know yourself to be. But Jupiter is trying to remind us, our higher selves are reminding us, we're more than what we think we are. We're so much more powerful. We're so much more beautiful. We're so much more healthier than what we think we are. We just got to learn to get away from ego. So that communication is still kind of having a hard time with that Pluto and that Saturn shifting energy, because the North Node is pretty much kicking it in the butt and saying, I'm not taking this shit anymore. So we're having to make these changes in our outer community by first looking at who and what we are, and are we willing to stand up for it. I said during that full moon that you had to stand up for your self-worth and your self-value. No longer are we negotiating our self-value and our self-esteem. Do you want to be liberated or not? That's what this comes down to. But we do have a chain reaction that's going on in this. It's hidden. This is what Spirit's telling me. Neptune is squaring Mars. So your inner magic that is capable of healing and moving forward, because it's in that universal 12th house, is still messing with those secrets, still messing with those denials, still messing with what is dormant, still messing with everything that the 12th house has to offer. And what we don't really want to know the truth about ourselves about is fighting Mars, our inner warrior. Because we know what we need to do. The question is, will we do what we need to do? But it is trining the North Node. That's exactly what I just said. The North Node is trying to tell you, get out of your comfort zone, because you got to move forward. And if you stay with what you've always known, and if you allow your warrior to be the same warrior it's been all of your life, ain't nothing going to change. That's basically what this is. And, Spirit's telling me also that energy is going to be crossing Taurus, and it's going to be crossing Juno. That is why Juno is such an important thing this week. It will be crossing that energy of that sacrifice and the commitment that it takes to work with that North Node to make it move forward. There is a question out there. Will you pass? Or a test out there. Or are you going to pass it? Because basically you're getting a silent quiz this week and helping you move forward. like I said, the guardians of the pole, which is the Polaris Star and Kokub, have been guarding that pole. That's why they're guardians. They're not letting you through that porthole to start to evolve and move forward unless you're doing the work. Sorry, baby, I just put it out there the way I'm giving it. Now, we also have on the 27th, which is the same day we get this double T-square, we have Mars is going to be trining the moon. So your warrior, your inner SWAT team, is going to start coming into that emotional energy of thinking it can. And this is when you should take that rebellious energy, especially as we go through the weekend, and make it work for you. Make it step up to the plate and help us move forward. But it is definitely going to be touching base on those sensitivities that's making you step out of your comfort zone. The question is, will you? And lastly, we have Mercury and Aries. Mercury and Aries with Vista and with Venus is going to be trining Jupiter on the 29th and 30th. So our communication will finally get a little bit more clear. Our communication of our soulfulness, our self-worth, our self-value, of what we're trying to create in a new, bold way within that independence. Chiron is here, is speaking to what has to heal. Our inner communication of what we illuminate ourselves with, our core of how we talk to ourselves and what we believe in ourselves so others see it, is starting to speak to Jupiter in a very positive way. So, step out of your comfort zone. Trust in what you are. Know that there's an inner priestess inside. Trust your intuition. And you're going to start seeing it come forward. Come the weekend, you should be feeling better about things. But realize, we're always in a seasonal change. That's just what being soulful is about. That's what living lives are about. And you're always evolving. You're always changing. It's not going to happen overnight. So give yourself a break. Give yourself some pampering. Love yourself. And know you're going to get up and you're going to try it again. And eventually, you're going to start getting better at it each and every time. I love you. Bye, everybody. Oh, before I do let you go, please also, if you do like the readings, please subscribe on YouTube, because I am going to start doing tarot readings for the zodiac signs. And I'm going to start doing them like on a 2-week period, like the first half of a month, the second half of a month. Now, I am getting all of my stuff together so that I can start actually putting them out, and I probably won't actually start putting them out until mid next month. But subscribe now so that when they start coming out, you can get them and they'll be sent right to you because you've already subscribed. Check out my YouTube channel. I will have a link to it with this video. I love you all, and I hope that you enjoy the videos, because it's going to help me to release so much of my stress by putting it in just tarot readings and putting it out per the zodiac. And I hope that it helps you, because Spirit's telling me that's what I have to do next. I love you. Bye.